Here's a first. How about we cover a game that was completed but never released, at least in the US? Twitter user Sean Paul pointed out a link to Jesse Ventura's Wrestling Superstars for the Genesis, which was supposed to be released in 1992, but ended up being canceled. Could it be a conspiracy? Well, probably not. Games do get canceled all the time. The game isn't based on any U.S. wrestling property, so using Jesse both does and doesn't make sense. On the one hand, Jesse was a very popular color commentator, who also made appearances in several high-profile films in the 80s. On the other hand, he left the WWF in 1990, and hadn't seen the industry since. Plus, he had been retired more or less since 1984, so it's weird to see a game where he's the focused wrestler. How old would you have to be to even remember Jesse wrestling? Plus, Jesse, despite being a Hall of Fame color commentator, great character and interview, stunk in the ring. It's like if Ryan Leaf got his own football game. Well, let's fire this up. That's a great talking animation on the intro screen. Blast processing hard at work. Anyway, Wrestling Superstars is actually a localization of a Japanese game, Thunder Pro Wrestling Retsuden. So it's basically Jesse Ventura and a bunch of dudes from Japan, so maybe it's no surprise the game got canceled. There are 12 wrestlers to choose from, Jesse being front and center, with the rest being from various Japanese companies. Appearances have changed a bit, but you can tell that Death Hand is Jushin Liger and the Flame is Vader. Damn right Vader can squash all these flippy cruiserweights killing the business. But again, I have to ask, where are Vader's pants? Jesse actually replaces Riki Choshu in the American version, a fair trade if there ever was one. Weirdly, they didn't replace the version of Hulk Hogan in the game, named Stan the Man here, but listed as, and I kid you not, Ralph Panther in the Japanese game, which sounds like an assumed name the Hulks would use to check in at many a hotel. Also, Junichiro Tenryu is here as Sumo Warrior. You and I know he's a former sumo wrestler, but how weird would it be for some random kid to rent this game from Blockbuster and wonder why the sumo guy wasn't morbidly obese? Well, if the game actually came out. The game's actually part of the Fire Pro series, despite being called Thunder Pro, but don't get too excited. The gameplay is pretty shallow compared to later Fire Pro games. You have 3 grapple moves, each corresponding to the A, B, and C buttons, and you can grapple from the front and back. Wrestlers also have special moves powered by the meter at the bottom of the screen. You can also run, come off the top rope, do ground submissions, all that. But I mostly just spam front grapples, and you can win matches pretty quickly. It's not bad, and probably a bit better than, say, the WWF games on the 16-bit consoles around this time, but it's not a missing classic. Being a Fire Pro game, you get the standard isometric view of the ring. The game's animations at times resemble a souped-up version of pro wrestling on the NES, which I guess shouldn't be too surprising, since Human Entertainment developed both of them. You do get little graphics at the end telling you the result in time elapsed, which I always appreciate. Yeah, I went with my Boston club hold. Even weirder, I actually won that match with a Liger Bomb. There are several game modes. Championship mode is the usual beat everyone to win the belt feature, but with a twist. You're assigned points based on how you win the match. For example, a pinfall gets you 5 points, while a countout gets you 2. You have to have a set amount of points at different stages, meaning you can't just do the easy countout win method the whole time. This not only emphasizes clean wins as seen in Japanese wrestling, but also keeps cheaters like you from beating the game in a cheap manner. Unlimited mode is just exhibition, and oddly named because you play a match and you're done, so I'm not sure what's so unlimited about it. Anyway, you get singles and tag matches, always a welcome addition. There's a team battle series where you pick a squad of 5 wrestlers and go against another team in a series of one-on-one battles. If a wrestler loses, the next wrestler comes in and the process continues until one team is eliminated. It's a staple of Japanese wrestling and really pretty fun. Not a staple of Japanese wrestling are handicap matches, also represented here, and what has to be one of the earliest examples. I guess if you want some extra challenge, it's alright, but this just makes me have PTSD flashbacks to No Mercy. They do give a lot of match options. There are about 80 different time limits. You can turn off rope break, and also have it set to rumberjack rules. Ugh, that's an unfortunate typo. But we all know Jesse has never done anything politically incorrect in wrestling.
Jesse the Vibe.
I ain't no animal, and I don't deserve to be put in no ring with no monkey looks like Willie B from the Atlanta Zoo. Woo!
Jesse Ventura's Wrestling Superstars doesn't do anything great, but it doesn't do anything badly either. It's a game I would have happily rented back in the day, but probably never owned. There's a ROM out there if you're a curious party, but it's not a great tragedy this was never released. Anyway, thanks for watching, and remember... the winner is you.